And there we go. Hello and welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining this session. Today we are having a sessions looking at navigating challenges with energy and focus. And I'm Cheryll from Patient Services team here at the Foundation. And we warmly welcome back Ange Cameron. Ange is somebody we love working with and does a lot over the years with the Foundation. And she'll tell you more about herself, but just to say she's a mindfulness, compassion coach, psychotherapist, counsellor, trainer, and so on and so forth. So, Ange, this session is very much over to you, to be led by you. I might just turn my camera off and then I'll be there. I'll keep an eye on the chat and everything, okay? And I'll be around. Thank you. Welcome.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this day. So bring yourself into this day in this moment. And what I love is when we get real life situations that just kind of weaves its way in, that's really authentic to the workshop that I'm going to give. Now, the workshop is about navigating challenges with mindfulness and energy management. And the session really today is focusing on helping you navigate these challenges through mindfulness and energy management. But what I want to also do is look at practical tools to promote your well-being and building resilience, cultivating a positive mindset. Now, I know that there's a lot of people now out there are mindful compassion coaches. I've been doing counselling and psychotherapy since I was age 25. Now that is 30 years ago. And the reason I'm I guess sharing that with you is I want to bring a depth of quality. I really believe in not just quantity, but quality. And the one thing actually I loved about coming into this session is two big things. Is I love the PBC Foundation and everybody involved just as much as they enjoy, as Cheryll introduced me about, and I felt real gratitude there, that I love them and have such a gratitude and respect for you all that are involved and have a connection with PBC Foundation. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for inviting me again. The second thing that I loved about coming in there was Cheryll and I had a little glitch with the camera. Now, what had happened was the screen was there, and I'm telling you this because I think that we are given curveballs every day in life. This session is exactly for navigating challenges. And sometimes it's so quickly those curveballs happen in life, and you'll have this too, that sometimes we could just react in this way, but actually we actually have to very consciously make a choice. Here's the curveball, and then choose a response to that. So when you're thinking about life challenges now, because the video wasn't working so well, that could have thrown Cheryll and I way off our course. She says, hold on a wee second. I need a wee minute to sort this, Ange. She didn't panic. I'm breathing. I could see her working out what she needed to work out, and I'm still breathing. And of course, my nerves a bit for the workshop is coming up too. So this is not just a unique situation, is it? Because time and again, you could be shopping in Aldi's, a curveball suddenly hits you, or somebody speaks to you unpleasantly, or maybe you've got home from the shopping and, oh my God, what happened? Where's all my bag of oranges? Or something like this, technical happens or something. So let's do, because the navigating challenges is part of our life. And what I really believe is that, it's like, because I'm a mermaid and I love the sea. I take women into the sea all the time as part of my therapeutic work. And also when I'm running retreats, it's a big part of my retreats, not the sole part. But what I'm saying here about the water is challenges are exactly like the water. It's unpredictable. In fact, we live a very predictable, unpredictable life. It's often consistently inconsistent. And what happens is sometimes it's a little wave, sometimes it's a big wave, that curveball, and then sometimes it's a tsunami. But if we can be conscious in our approach, if we can be aware and step into our awareness with that, then we can choose to respond how we really want to respond rather than react. Now, I'm just going to go through, because, you know, we're going to look at today is what is that like, the navigating challenges. Now, Marcus Aurelius, poet and philosopher, said, if you've not watched Gladiator 2, go and watch it. If you've not watched Gladiator 1, go and watch it. It's a bit violent. It was a bit like this. However, Marcus Aurelius is in it, and it's pretty awesome in Gladiator 1. But he said, you have power over your mind, not outside events, and realize this, and this will give you strength. And I think as human beings, often we're reacting to our external world and those events that are happening out with us. But the one thing that is so underused is our mind, that wisdom, that observer within our mind. Okay, so I'm just going to just come into the grounding. So wherever you are, it doesn't matter where you are. And maybe you watch this again, you may be lying on the floor of the bed, and that's okay. I'm going to do a quick ABC exercise with you. Awareness, balance, connection. So just be aware of your thoughts right now. You can close your eyes if you want to. Just be aware of where they are. Are they still with something that happened earlier today, or overthinking in the here and now, or thinking about something in the future? Balance. See if you're really up in your head just now. Come down to your belly, come down to your feelings, come down to your heart space. And a good way to do that is just to have that physical contact with yourself, to connect with your physical body. And also that balance from your head right down to your body. Or maybe often what we do when we're on screen is we stick our chin out a bit more. So just align that, allow the neck to be just balanced. And then that's centering. C for connection, C for centering. This line all the way down here. Relax the forehead. Relax the cheeks, unhinge the cheeks. Unhinge the jaw. Breathe into the chest and the belly. Centering that line. Then come back and just open your eyes. Come back into this. So welcome. If you want a copy of that, I can send you not only the instructions but the mindful, that meditation itself. Just email me, angie.cameron@direction.org.uk. angie.cameron@direction.org.uk. So welcome and thank you for joining us. Thanks so much also for giving yourself that space to join us. So I'm wondering, just for you to ponder, what's the one small thing that you've done recently to support your well-being? What's the one thing recently to support your well-being? You might want to put it in the comments, or just even to ponder it. So welcome everybody. I can see your names there. Thank you. And I think that's really important, that question, what have I done recently? In fact, what I did about 10 minutes ago when Cheryl was trying to fix the screen there, I was breathing. But just before that, about 45 minutes before that, I had my lunch. But I sat and I had my lunch. I wasn't on my screen. So it can be these little nuggets. It's not about the little nuggets, about the accumulation of these that are really, really important. Okay, they're absolutely vital, not just to our survival, but to that compassion fatigue, that mental burnout, that mental fatigue that sometimes is accumulation of things rather than just a 1, 2, 7 or 8 things. So we're going to look at exploring challenges and self-compassion. Now, common challenges that our people face, by those living or supporting PBC is really, I think, is managing energy levels throughout your day, balancing just your personal and or professional demands, and also sometimes the emotional and actually I would say psychological responses to physical limitations. We have preferences around that, we have attitudes around that. Often we criticize ourselves that I'm not good enough, compare ourselves. So we're working with this all the time. So I was wondering, for a reflection moment, what does self-compassion actually look like for you in tough moments? Not what does it look like, what's self-kindness like, what's self-care like, but when it comes to tough moments, what does it look like? So here's my questions, and you might have to come back to this and write them down. Grab yourself a wee journal. I love journaling. I'm not one who naturally does it with my dyslexia, but I'm somebody, even after 10, 15 minutes of actually doing journaling, it's so profound. Just one key thing is, if you're going to journal, such a therapeutic, empowering tool to process things, it's much more powerful writing things down. Just don't reread it, okay? So that is one of my takeaways today. I hope you take that away. But what I would like to ask you is, how might you be showing kindness to yourself change the way that you approach challenges? So it doesn't matter whether it was that challenge earlier with that we had with a technical difficulty, or even maybe I know my daughter's got a hospital appointment coming up soon. So what is self-kindness looking like there? My mum is she's in her late 70s. She's had a few falls recently. So when does, in those more not just challenging, difficult moments, in those vulnerable moments, what does self-kindness or self-compassion look like to you? How might it change the approach for you having the challenges? And the question is, the truth is, how do we transfer it, translate it into these life events, isn't it? It's not just a theory or a fact or something written down or reading a nice quote from Instagram or Facebook. So what would you say to a friend experiencing what you're going through right now? Because what you're going through right now might be different from a month ago or a year ago or 2 years ago. But right now, in this particular situation, what would you say to them, and how can you apply that advice to yourself? Now, let me give you an example. My mum is in her late 70s. I'm just getting a drink of water. My mum's in her late 70s, and I was getting really worried about her. She had a couple of falls before the end of last year. She lives in central Scotland. I'm in the east of Scotland, and I'm thinking, how is, I was getting worried about her. I didn't know how to approach her, blah, blah, blah. And I was kind of getting knots about it. I'm a daughter, what is it best to do? And I tried to kind of gently gauge how things were. And then I had this conversation, well, if one of my best pals was sitting there, what would I do to them? What would I say to them? And the question was, look, just speak to your mum openly and honestly. Tell her you're anxious. What can I do to help? And I might have a few suggestions too. So there's the 2 or 3 things. So the one was to be there for her, reassure her. The other one was to, I've got a friend who actually specialises in balance and falls and all of that kind of stuff, who's a physio. And the other thing is, what can I do to support her? So I took that advice on, and what's happened over these last couple of weeks, not only has my mum seen my friend who's a physiotherapist, but I'm feeling so much less anxious as well. So it's not just a thought process of how can I be kind to myself in my every day. When it's difficult, when it's challenging out there, what is it that you would advise a friend to do? And I think it's about application rather than just bringing it and processing it in your head. And even writing that down, I think, is really, really powerful. So let's just take a wee deep breath there. And maybe even, I think what can be really good is in times of difficulty, the self-kindness breathing is really a game changer. The deep breaths. And one of the things that we often do, it doesn't matter whether, I wanted to reassure my mum or I want to reassure my kids. They've just had their prelims just now. And one of the things I did as a mother was offer a lot of reassurance. I think it's to tap into that nurturing part of ourselves. What's the affirmations? Not just, oh, you're going to have a great day, or you're going to manage this, or you're going to be cracking at this, but actually affirmations of reassurance. So a little invitation just now. See what it's like just to connect with your body in some way. And the brain doesn't know that it's not somebody else that's soothing you. Isn't that amazing? So that physical contact is sending messages through the spine to the brain saying you're being reassured, and the brain's gone, this is nice, I'm being looked after, and the body relaxes. So we tap into that real calming hormones and energy, really calming down. So maybe there's an affirmation there in times of difficulty to put your hand on your heart, just make some kind of gesture to yourself. And for some people, that can be a bit uncomfortable, awkward. Maybe you're not physically able to do it, or it's a bit sore or tight or even painful, but some gesture of touch, but then bring that affirmation to yourself with a deep breath into the heart. This is a moment of difficulty, and I'm choosing to meet it with kindness. This is a moment of difficulty. I choose to meet it with kindness. And what I'd really like to emphasize on this, that two things. One is to do it anywhere at any time. It doesn't matter whether you're in a group meeting. It doesn't matter if you're on an online meeting, because I can do it without you even looking. I can put my hands on my legs and just give them just a gentle little soothing rub, and my hands on top of each other. Or even if you are in that supermarket queue, you're a bit stressed, or there's a bit of pain there, or your mind's overthinking. Oh, this is a moment of difficulty. This is a moment where my mind is going like the monkey mind, or this is a moment that I'm anxious for somebody else, or I'm anxious for myself, and I choose to meet it with kindness. So two things about that. One, you can do it anytime, anywhere. The second thing is really accepting challenges as a part of life and without judgment. We have such a complex brain at times that we always want to pass judgment on things, on people's, on attitude, on our feelings, on our thoughts, and everything all the time. Now, that is part of the brain, it's part of the survival instinct. However, there's times where I've always said is, ask yourself, is this serving me? Even when you're there, is this serving me? If it's not, I maybe need to put it in the bin. Okay, so let's just try a 3-minute mindfulness exercise, that energy reset, and see what it's like just to bring yourself into a place wherever you are. And please, again, do this anytime, any place. Obviously, you can't do it when you're driving or you're on roller coasters. That's never going to work. And it's okay to smile. And smile from your eyes, smile from your heart, and see what it's like. You can keep your eyes open or a soft gaze, or close your eyes. And just inhale for a count of 4 breaths. Four counts. Breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just hold for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathing out, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathing out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you can do this a few ways because you can actually, as box breathing, is breathe in for 4, pause for 4, breathe out for 4, another pause and then inhale. So let's try that. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just let the breath come back to normal. Not trying to concentrate on it. Just being here in this moment, this time. And what I would suggest is actually that breathing, box breathing, can actually be really useful when you're in transition. So sometimes when I move from my work to being a mummy, sometimes when I move from a meeting, one meeting, to, because I'm a counselling psychotherapist, and I'll maybe, before I go in with a client, I'll just do that just for a few minutes, or maybe before I'm doing a workshop or talking to my online coaching community, again, do that. So in moments of transitions, it's really great. So think about it in a time. So it might be just before bed, when you're lying down, maybe even you've just been watching a program on Netflix. And before you get up and go and empty the dishwasher or go and read a book, see what it's like just to spend a few minutes in that transition place. Because often we do one thing after another, after another, after another. See what it's like. You can just start implementing that. Okay, so every single time that I go from one meeting to another, I'm just going to sit and take a few breaths. So I hope that's helpful. I've got a few comments there already, so thank you very much for connecting and engaging. I'm just going to read them out. And somebody has suggested, decided to give myself permission to do less. I love that so much. In fact, I think, on a Monday, for most people it's a Monday, maybe it's a Sunday, when you look at your week ahead, what this person said, do less. Don't put more things in your diary. Look at your diary, and is there one thing in each day, and I'm not talking about a meeting or anything, is there one thing in each day that I could possibly take out that will give me a bit more time just to sit and have my lunch? Is there one thing in that day? Maybe there's a phone call I've got to make for somebody. Maybe I'll just make it on Wednesday rather than Monday. So I'm not feeling too much under pressure because my day's jam-packed as it is. So thank you for that gift. And someone else also said, gave myself permission to rest yesterday. And what I love about that empowering statement, it's not just about resting yesterday. That rest, or people saying, oh, I'm not going to do anything today. We are doing something. We're actively restoring ourselves physiologically, psychologically, emotionally. Now you think about it, it's almost like, having my mobile phone here, and actually there's so many tabs open. So what the first person says, what you do is do less, so close a couple of tabs. The second thing is rest. Now, for me, rest isn't just rest, it's a whole restoring. So think about plugging your phone into the battery charger. You're not going to let your phone go down to 2%, are you? When you see it even like 12%, 17%, I know my kids go, oh, it's 47%, and they want to plug it in then. Plug yourself in before it gets under, okay? Now, these are life skills, and what I'm doing here is I really believe in this coach in your pocket. So taking the tools, the gifts, the nuggets that I'm giving you today, and just think, right, so just note them down, even if it's in your notes, okay? So one of the things I'm inviting you to do is, the amazing thing about the brain and the mind, and especially when we're talking about navigating challenges, and sometimes these challenges are not just challenges. They're difficulties. And sometimes that difficulty can lead to all different kinds of mindset and feelings. Sometimes it can provoke some negative thinking or more survival thinking, okay? That is a natural reaction from us because ultimately we are animals. One thing which is really amazing that the neuroscientists have found out is that when we really bring gratitude into our mind, into the brain, into our mind, we cannot at the very, very, very same time think negative thoughts. Now, we cannot do that simultaneously, so they can't be sitting on the same sofa, okay, at the exact same time. They'll be sitting on opposite sofas. So what I'd invite you to do is when you've got difficulties or challenges, think about something that you're going to have gratitude for. Now, you won't know where I'm in because I didn't even share it with Cheryl, but I'm actually in Edinburgh's West End, in the Gilly Doo now. The Gilly Doo is a venue where it has events and everything. And the last time I was here, I'm here for a training session today, all-day training session. But when I was here last, I was here for a Kaylee. So welcome to the Gilly Doo. So what I'd like to invite you to do is think about 3 things that you're grateful for now. They've got some nice flowers for where I am. So I'm looking at the flowers and I'm thinking, oh, that's really nice. Now you won't see the flowers. The other thing that I'm really, really grateful for is to connect with you. To think about your 3 things. And what happens, what's going on for me there is not only am I thinking negatively, because what you won't know is there's some background noise from the bit where I'm sitting downstairs. But because I'm really grateful for connecting with you, I'm not even paying attention to that noise that's going on here. And actually, I'm really grateful even just to be having my glass of water. And the kind waiter brought it for me. So I'm grateful to be looked after and nurtured. Often we think of gratitude as something big. Oh, I'm grateful I've got a car or going on holiday. It's actually all these things that enrich our lives. Okay? And it can change and to actually wake up, what am I grateful for in my day? To go to sleep, what am I grateful in my day? So tell me what you noticed there. If you want to put it in the comments, if not, that's okay. And if you're comfortable, share out what you are grateful for. And what I would do is encourage you to do is, even when you're lying in bed, rather than just quickly get up or suddenly focus on something that's uncomfortable, I need to loo, or there's a pain in my body, or oh no, that worry's come into my mind, bring it also in of, oh, I'm doing the PBC Foundation workshop today. I'm really grateful for that. And your body will soften. Your heart will become much more expansive. We can focus so much on the negativity and the things that cause us stress and anxiety in life. It's really important to take that away, really. So let's have an idea of what you're going to do. Now, one of the ways that I suggest to people to remember to do this, because people don't remember to do it, and I'm talking about myself here as well. Okay, apparently, according to psychologists, it takes 179 times for us not to do something and then for us to create a new habit. That's 179 times a lot. And if you think about it, you've probably put your jacket or your coat on for years the same way. You probably folded your arms the same way. In fact, often I sit like that, and I still do it. And then I look at myself on the screen and go, oh. So it's that bit there where you first have to disrupt the old habit and then bring in the new habit. So what I would encourage you to do is do a few things in how to bring this into your life and how to implement it. One of the things that I do is I use little sticky notes. Honestly, I cannot enhance these enough. I've not got shares in the sticky note business, but just you get these little tiny ones. And I even use the little tiny ones to kind of mark my recipes that I do. And sometimes I can just put one word on them. Okay, and you could put it on your laptop, you could put it on your mirror, you could put it on the door. I use my wardrobe in my bedroom. It's wooden, so I think, oh yeah, I'll put that there because I'll see it. Don't leave it there for too long because then it becomes too familiar. You'll kind of bypass it and put it at the length that your eyes are going to come. So if you're passing a wheelchair or maybe your eye level, just do it. Just do it to the level that suits you. The other thing that I would highly recommend is downloading a Mindful Bell app. Now, the Mindful Bell apps, it doesn't matter whether you've got an Android or an Apple, the Mindful Bell apps are really great because they disrupt our brain. And what happens is, oh yeah, it's a wee reminder, oh, and it goes off. You can choose the bell, but I think they're usually free, or like, I think mine was like 49 pence a year. And it goes off maybe anytime you set it. It could be every 15 minutes, every hour, every couple of hours, just to, so maybe you do it like 3 times a day, and then just pause, no matter what you're doing, even if you're at, you know, on your laptop, even if you're having dinner, even if you're working, even if you're in a conversation with a friend, you can just bring into mind 3 things that you're grateful for. And maybe 3 things sometimes, until we get into the swing of it, can feel quite difficult. So if it's just one thing, that's okay too. So just one thing. So to think about that in a way, to move, to really retrain the mind in a way, not just when you're going through, you know, difficulties and navigating these challenges, but actually to make them everyday tools, to make them, for me, a practice becomes something to start off with. So maybe there'll be loads of things in your life that you've never used that for once, that for the first time you've had to use it. Like it could be a wheelchair, it could be the system, it could be driving a car. Yeah. Now, once upon a time, I'm an ex-bus driver when I was in my early 20s, and I'm talking about double deckers. And oh my goodness me, I rolled that bus down the hill so many times before I had my hill start. Or I would have to do like a 9-point turn rather than usually a 5-point turn in a double decker. Or in your car, you'd probably, rather than a 3-point turn, you've probably done a 5 or 6-point turn before. So there'll be something in your life that you've once never done before that is so natural for you. And this is the exact same. So when you're driving a car, you know, we don't drive a car now and, oh yeah, I better remember to put it into 3rd gear. Oh, we're at the traffic lights, I better put my handbrake up, put it into neutral. Or you might be in an automatic, put the park on. Or I'll just remember to check my side mirrors or my inside mirrors. Oh yeah, because you have to do it every 10 seconds when you're learning a driver. I still remember that. I have to check my mirror. Oh, and then you have to do that, yeah? You have to remember and remember and remember. But what is how you create a habit is really, really interrupting the old habit and then bringing in the new habit. And what happens, then it becomes the most natural thing, rather than you focusing on that and it becoming hard and I'll just do it when I need to survive. I'll just do it when I'm navigating these difficult circumstances or challenges, or when I'm experiencing anxiety. That's the only time I'll do the breathing or the mindful practice or the box breathing, because I'm going to use it as a survival tool. If you do that, if you only rest when you're absolutely knackered, the truth is that's all you'll do, and it becomes a survival tool to get you out of that survival mode. What I'm encouraging you, inviting you to do, even with gratitude, even if it's just once, is to really start doing it frequently during the day. And then one day you're driving your car and you don't remember to look in the mirror, you just do it. And you just do it. And this is what happens. And then you just change the gears. Or, oh yeah, I remember an easier way to get the stone out the avocado, or an easier way how to cut the pineapple, because you've done it a few times. or peel the skin off the mango, or whatever that is, or I've found an easier way how to put, that my walking shoe on there. So when we do that, what happens, it just becomes a way of life. And I would really, really encourage you to do that, because what happens also is that becomes, it's like a memory bank. Yeah, so I'm on a Apple Mac. It's a Apple Mac Pro or something. So it's a memory like goodness knows what. But your memory can grow when you train your brain, you train your mind to do this. That actually, when and even before those survival, those difficult things, the big curveballs come in, it will come in just like that. And not only when the big things come in, but everyday things. So I'm going to offer you something that's a bit more tricky, a bit more difficult, because this is part one of a workshop. I know in a few months' time we'll be doing another one to this, but what I'm going to invite you to think about is, what if you started changing your perspective? What if you said, right, oh God, that's really difficult. What if you looked at it as an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to grow, an opportunity within you to tap into something else, even if in that moment it's unknown, even if it provokes stress, even if it provokes anxiety. Okay? And not so when it's almost like I'm asking you, you're wearing a specific kind of glasses, you've come to the opticians, that's me. And as a mindful compassion coach and psychotherapist trainer, I think it's really important for us to invite ourselves to start thinking about, how do I see the world? Okay, how do I see the difficulties or the challenges? Because if am I always perceiving them, and this is with, we've got to think about it with no blame whatsoever. If I see them as always difficulties, always challenges, always, that's exhausting. And it could be a medical appointment. It could be taking new medication or coming off old medication. It could be a difficult conversation with somebody. It could be, for some people, it doesn't matter what it is, okay? If they're always saying that as, oh, I hate waiting in that post office queue, or, oh no, Jimmy's coming tonight, he's got to pop in for something, find him a bit tricky, a bit difficult, So that could be personally or professionally. What if you were to change your perspective on Jimmy or that difficult situation or that, and say, I wonder if I adopted an attitude of being less judgmental. So this is a very mindful compassion attitude that we have. What if I looked at it a different way? Okay, so it's almost like as you come to the opticians, I'm asking you to take your sunglasses off. What I'm going to do is ask you to try these other lenses on, to give them a wee wipe. And what I'd invite you to do is, what if I chose this moment, or that, how I perceive that person to be difficult, or that situation, or that medical appointment, or that meeting? What if I changed my attitude about it? What if I changed my perspective about it? In that in itself, it's not just kind, it's not just compassionate, it's brave, it's taking a risk, it's being courageous. So what I'm inviting you to do here is really not just even step up, but to show up for you, to show up for you. And what you notice is not only the benefits for you in that, but the benefits from other people. And my question is, why should we make ourselves suffer more than what life already gives us in the suffering and the difficulty? Yeah. So my question to you is, because I said at the very beginning of this, and even if you're watching this on replay, just to think about it, to not even overanalyze it, but just to really ponder and wonder about these. But what is the small action that you can do this week to support your energy and your well-being? Because every time we perceive something to be really difficult, every single time we perceive something to be really challenging, what happens there, it will take a certain amount of energy. Now, for instance, if I'm on a dual carriageway and I need to overtake somebody, what do you do? Now, I'll tell you, as a professional bus driver, what you should do is actually take your foot gently off the accelerator, indicate right, look in your mirrors, and actually overtake. But in that moment of overtaking, you have to put your foot down the accelerator. It's the same when you're happen with a corner on the road, okay? Now, what a lot of people do is either brake round a corner when they're driving or just go far too fast, okay? The real skill when you're going around a corner in life, which is just the same as curveballs, is to come off the accelerator a wee bit, change the gear, drop a gear, and then accelerate around the corner. There is much, much more likely that you're going to be safe. If you were to go round at, say, fourth gear or even 35 miles an hour in a corner, you're actually more likely to be out of control of the car, or in my case, your bus, and the back end of it. And if it's icy or slippy, you're in trouble. And that is not any different from the difficulties and challenges that you have in your life. Once you drop down a gear into awareness, so even I'm inviting you right now to do this, dropping down a gear, just breathe. And then breathe from your belly. So notice even now, so I'm encouraging you to do this when you have these curveballs in life, is notice where you're breathing, okay? Because if you're breathing up in your chest or more up here, what you will notice is you're more likely to react to something than you are to respond. Because all this is intrinsically linked to how your mind works. And your mind is more likely to go into survival, that animalistic reaction. Drop it a gear. Don't go into fifth or sixth gear. Drop it even down to fourth. You don't have to go into first or second. I'm not asking you to crawl. Just drop it down a gear. Even when you're in a meeting or you're getting dressed and it's just a struggle for you and your energy is low and you're tired. Because when your energy is low or you're stressed or you're anxious, what happens is that will make an impact on your mindset, will make an impact on your thinking. So the more you're stressed, the more you're anxious, the more you're finding something difficult, even if it's you getting dressed or going into a meeting or going to the shopping because you're late and you have to get to. The minute you feel that feeling, your mind will start changing, okay? And you're more likely to have that negative, sometimes irrational, sometimes catastrophizing thoughts. So you have the power here, you have the control here, and you're able to manage that, okay? It's absolutely amazing that we have so much power within us to use in such an empowering way, such a nurturing way. And then what happens is, not only if I drop a gear, I'm being kind to myself in that moment, but actually I'm going to be a nicer person for me, for my kids, for you, for my clients, for whoever that is, for my staff, okay? So everybody benefits, and that's really important. What's the small action you can take this week to support your energy and well-being? I'm going to say something here. Is I know all too easy how it is to get this, to attend workshops and courses and retreats and everything else. And then, all right, I've done that. But what I always do is come back to it 2 or 3 times, even when I'm listening to a podcast. Listen to it again. Yeah. Put this on the background when you're cooking your tea, when you're going for a walk, when you're sitting in your chair, when you're in the car. You don't have to look at me, just put it in the background. And even if it's just 5 minutes when you're getting dressed, and something different will come out of it. Because for me, it's not just about you taking small actions from this workshop. And I will ask you in the next workshop what you've been doing. but it's actually making these tiny little game changers all along the way. If you had, now I'm sitting at a big table here, if you've got a whole set of dominoes, now truth is, I actually don't know how many dominoes are generally in a box, so that's my Google question for today. But if you've got a couple of boxes, 2 or 3 boxes of dominoes, and you've got them all lined up, so that bit where you flick a domino and it goes click, 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 click. And I often talk about this because I find I really connect visually. So I don't know if you connect more audio or feelings or visually, but that works for me. But what happens is that if you take 1 or 2, maybe even 3 of the dominoes out and they're all lined up ready to make a wee pattern once you flick the first one, imagine those 2 or 3 dominoes were the 2 or 3 dominoes that you could just take a few breaths. So put them back in there. They will become natural, habitual, and a much more way of life. Okay? Not to do mindful practices or just remember to be kind to yourself when you've fallen well or when you've finished serving somebody else or being good to somebody else or, I'll just need to keep going. I'll just work until Friday. I'll just keep working till 5 o'clock. Being kind to yourself in that moment. So here's some of my, hopefully, takeaways. Please do email me, angie.cameron@direction.org.uk for that. Or you can sign up to our newsletter at direction.org.uk, direction.org.uk. And actually, I think on there right now is either a sleep hygiene book or a grind to thrive, which has got everything from about affirmations to gratitude to daily planning. Yeah, it's just great. There's 1,440 minutes in every day. Take 5 minutes of mindful breathing every day. Now, most people will say, I've not got time for that, I'm too busy. It's 1,440 minutes to interrupt your automatic pilot, to decrease your stress, to increase your happiness, to increase your joy, to increase your gratitude, your calm, your ability to respond rather than react. Yeah. So when these curveballs happen, all that accumulation of those 5 minutes doesn't sound very much, but if you did it every day, that's 35 minutes in a week. Yeah. So that's over, 1 hour and 10 minutes every 2 weeks. So we're talking about 2 hours 20 every 4-week month. That will make a significant impact on your brain, and it will move you from stop just reacting to everything, the pain, the upset, the emotional challenges, all of these things, into much more, that's what I'm aware of right now, and I don't just have to react to it. I'm just going to breathe a wee bit and take my time. The other thing that I would encourage you, and I go a wee bit more into that in the Grind to Thrive free playbook, is the short gratitude journal entry. If thinking about it is, sometimes people don't want to do it. So I actually write mine down as well. Not every day, because every day's, it's busy. But actually you can put it on a sticky note somewhere. I put it in my journal. Just put a short gratitude and don't overanalyze it. Don't even write a sentence. It could just be, I'm grateful for the flowers. I'm grateful for so-and-so being in my life. Yeah. And one of the things that I do every single day is tell at least one person. It has to be authentic. It has to be genuine. It has to be real of what I'm grateful about them being in my life. That might be a wee text to a pal saying, oh, that was a great walk we had on Sunday. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Or I might, I text my mum the other day saying, thanks so much for coming through. Lots of love. Just something, not just a thank you, but something about being grateful for them. What I would also include is please, one of the things we cannot, it's 90%. The brain, we've got 6 minutes left. We've got 90% of the brain is filled with water. And we all know water isn't just about keeping us hydrated. For me, that is a mindful practice in myself. So when I take a drink of water, what I'm also doing is taking a breath, I'm nourishing my body, I'm feeding my brain, and in turn, I'm keeping more focused, I'm keeping more productive, and it's really, really helpful in my energy. The amount of clients that I see that hardly even drink 1 or 2 cups of water a day, maybe even 3 or 4, so that's only 50% of it, is immense. There's huge benefits in increasing your energy when you drink. We're mostly made up of water. The other thing is scheduling micro breaks in your day. I cannot emphasize this enough. When I'm working in specifically on a project or doing admin at my work, I do the Pomodoro method. You can Google it. But basically it's work for 25 minutes with a 5-minute break, work for 25 minutes, 5-minute break, work for 25 minutes, 15, 20-minute break. And sometimes I don't just have a 15, 20-minute break. Sometimes that's my lunchtime. Yesterday, I did Pilates. The day before, I went out for a walk. Yeah. So we're going to just do a guided visualization, but I'd like to share something with you that came up on my Instagram today. And it's, you need 3 daily wins. A physical win. And that could just be stretching. It could just be doing some neck hygiene. You know, it could be, for some people, going for a walk. For some people, it could just be standing up from your chair a few times. It could be running, it could be swimming. So it doesn't have to be running a marathon. Or, as Dr. Chatterjee talks about, maybe it's just lifting a tin of beans in the kitchen a few times, so you're building up your strength. Okay. A mental win. Reading, writing, creating, learning. Right now, you're listening to this, you're learning already. Big, massive tick. A mental win. And sometimes, rather than getting mental fatigue, sometimes that's just having a nap. Sometimes it's doing a mindful practice. Sometimes it's stop staring at the screen. Sometimes a mental win means, oh, I'll just watch this series on Netflix. And I don't mean like too much, but then sometimes a mental win is just reading a book. You can have also a spiritual win. A spiritual win, for it can mean so much to people. Praying, meditating, studying, growing, or maybe it's simply just being with nature, being in nature. So just before we finish for today, let's see if we can do, just imagine coming into your body now, just resting wherever you are, standing, sitting, lying. Just a warm light, just close your eyes, a warm light of resilience surrounding you. And just as you inhale energy, and just exhale, just breathe out the heaviness. Inhale, exhale. So inhaling the resilience, or you might find another word, calmness, the warm light of calmness or resilience surrounding you. Imagine it just coming out your pores, going into your organs, your feet, your toes. That energy, and exhale, maybe the heaviness, the stress, the exhaustion. Inhale again, that light, that gentle calmness. Exhale, the rushiness, the angst. Once more. And this time, see what it's like to bring an affirmation to your mind. And it could be, I am strong. I am capable. I am resilient. This is a great thing to do when we do have those challenges when we're navigating. I am strong. I am capable. I am resilient. You could do them any time because you know if you're in the supermarket queue, nobody knows that you're doing it. So I would encourage you, once you finish watching this, to go away and Just do a bit more of that. Visualize that, because you can do it anyway. You could be sitting on the loo, you could be in a meeting. Nobody knows that you're doing it, but what you're doing is that you're returning to a place of inner strength, and especially when facing challenges. So just to think about today is, what's the one word to describe how you feel today after today's workshop? How do you feel today after today's workshop? And I'm going to encourage you to keep going with the mindful practices. And I always say, sharing your learning with colleagues and friends makes them more powerful. And for me, that power in itself empowers us. I hope that you connect. I'm going to encourage you also to connect with me on Facebook and Instagram, because it's under Direction Scotland or Ange Cameron, because we have a lot of meditations there, and audiobooks. If you've never read, or if you like audiobooks, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle is good. Automatic Habits by James Clear. There's also one of my favourites, who is Mark Williams, Dr. Mark Williams. He is a friend of mine. He's on YouTube. He brought together one of the first. He's from Oxford University, a professor, a very, very humble man. But there's a lot of practices on YouTube. We're on YouTube as well. There's mindful practices, talks about stress, anxiety, and so on. So let me know how you get on. If there's any free resources I can help with, send me that email. Hello again. So thank you very much for joining me. Hello, Cheryll. Good to see you.
Thank you. What a lovely, calming session. So thank you so much for that. Think whoever watch it will just notice, even just gently, just some difference, some shift. So, and rewatching it when it's on YouTube. And Ange, just before we go, just to say we'll be welcoming you back to do another part to this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So very much.
Always.
We'll have a look at recommendations. Yes, absolutely. Can share that with you. See that popping into the chat there. So keep an eye out as well on our social media and on the website for the second session that we have with Ange, which will follow on from this beautiful session. So thank you, Ange, for a wonderful session. Thank you for your time and your wisdom.
And if anybody's got any, they could always email you in maybe for the second workshop a couple of weeks before, if they want me to talk a wee bit more about something that I mentioned today, or they've got a specific challenge that I might be able to bring to the workshop and use it as a real life scenario. I won't mention the person's name, and we can use the tool or technique or an idea that I might give them. That'd be great.
Love that. Thank you so much.